Hey everyone, and welcome back to another Unmask Yourself video. In today's video, we're going to discuss guilt, what it is, how it affects you, and how to overcome it. This is a powerful topic, one that has the ability to significantly impact your life if and only if you're willing to strip down your walls and be completely honest with yourself. Guilt is a feeling of emotional distress. This is caused in response to our thoughts, our actions, or lack of actions that have caused or could cause physical, emotional, or any other kind of harm to others. Guilt is an important part of building and maintaining relationships. It's a signal in our mind that prompts us to make decisions that don't negatively impact other people. This kind of guilt is healthy and comes in beneficial microbursts. Because of its subtlety, most people don't actually recognize it as guilt, but in most cases, it's commonly referred to as having a conscience. Unresolved guilt, on the other hand, is detrimental to our mental health and affects our ability to build and maintain healthy relationships. This comes from doing something in the past that you know has the potential to negatively impact another person. This kind of guilt usually comes hand in hand with shame. When you think about what you've done and how it has or could have negatively affected somebody else, you are filled with guilt and remorse for your actions. This is usually followed by shame though, as you question your trustworthiness, your worth, and your value as a person. This is usually the limiting factor as to why people can't own and share what they've done, which is the reason most people get stuck in their guilt. Living with unresolved guilt is like having a ringing in your ear that just doesn't go away. You'll be able to put up mental walls so that for the most part you're able to live with it. But coupled with additional mental demands from things like work, study, or family life, the guilt can flood in unexpectedly and can be quite overwhelming. Its persistence and how it affects your concentration, your productivity, your creativity, and your ability to solve problems can have a significant impact on your stress levels, which can lead to undesirable moods and emotional outbursts. If left unresolved for an extended period of time, your guilt can begin to intensify. This can show itself by making you reluctant to enjoy simple things in life. This comes from the internal belief that your guilt is creating, that you're not a good person, and that you don't deserve to feel good. It can also escalate to self-punishment or self-harm, which is done in an attempt to ward off the feelings of guilt. But it's not always just ourselves that we punish in response to our guilt. You may strangely enough find yourself attacking or avoiding the person where the guilt originated from. This is because maintaining a relationship with this person or enjoying their company only amplifies the pain that you feel in response to the things that you've done to them. This avoidance can also extend to people that know this person, or even places that make you think about this person and what you've done to them. In this video, I also want to discuss guilt trips and the negative effects that come from them. For this, I'm going to use the example of cheating, where the person who cheated has come forward and owned their wrongdoings, and both people agree to work on and rebuild the relationship. If this is the agreement that's made, then both people agree that they both have things they need to work on for the relationship to move forward in a healthy and productive way. This will all come crashing down though, if the partner that was cheated on begins using guilt trips as a power play throughout this process. These guilt trips come in the form of things like this. I'm not the untrustworthy one. Well, you're the one that cheated. What if I don't? Are you going to sleep with the next person that comes along? Things like this are done to control or manipulate a situation and add no benefit to rebuilding or strengthening a relationship. Now, I can understand, just like I'm sure a lot of you out there can understand too, how the hurt and betrayal can cause responses like this. But what needs to be accepted is that if you've chosen to work on the relationship, things like this will cause more harm than good. The person on the receiving end will more than likely start to resent you. So while these things might give you the outcome that you desire in the moment, these things will ultimately push that person away, leading to the relationship ultimately falling apart anyways. A less intense version of a guilt trip is when a parent says things like, "Oh, you never call me," or "You never visit." While this may get a phone call or a visit out of them in the short term, the resentment that these things cause can extend the periods in between phone calls and visits moving forward in the future. Okay, so what are the takeaways from today's video and how can you free yourself from guilt? 1. You need to accept that what you have done is wrong, that you can't take it back, but you can learn from it. What's done is done. At some point in everyone's life, we've done something that we're not proud of. But now that you've recognized it and accepted it, you can now learn from it. Holding on to it and punishing yourself as a result isn't helping you or anyone else around you. 2. It's important to share it and get it out in the open. Rectify what you can and apologize to those that you've hurt. This is going to be hard, as the fear of being exposed and labelled as untrustworthy, selfish, or just generally a bad person is going to be hard to face. But in the process of holding on to your guilt, you're doing this to yourself on a daily basis anyway. And the only way to stop this is to let it out. Which brings us to tip number 3, to remember that you can only control your actions. If your apology isn't accepted, and they choose to see you as untrustworthy, deceitful, or selfish, this is something that you'll have to accept that that's how they feel. You letting go of your guilt can't come from them accepting your apology, because that may not happen. It needs to come from you owning your behavior and learning from it, regardless of what their response is. Well, that's it for today's video. Remember that this is going to be a long and hard process, and that you need to be prepared for the outcome, regardless of what that may be. As always, if this video helps you and you feel like it can help somebody else out there, please give this video a like and a share and help me reach the other people out there that are silently struggling with this same thing. All right, thanks everyone. Much love.